All right, we are back. Week 7 is in the books. A Rod Wave on the ones and twos, taking us into our Tuesday. Woo! That was an interesting week to say the least. Injuries everywhere. We're starting to get into that part of the fantasy season now where you build this pretty roster and it's your pretty sandcastle, and then the surf just comes in and just Murphys it and obliterates it. And huge injuries. Brees Hall going down, big one. Mike Williams with an ankle. That's potentially big, depending how long he's out. Same with DK Metcalf with a knee. Man, some defenders going out. I mean, it's starting to stack up. Now, this is where the stress comes in. This is where the management really goes to another level. Having to negotiate bye weeks, and then guys banged up. Debo's got a hamstring, for instance. There's just a bunch of little things that you got to deal with here in week 7. I mean, we're halfway through this thing now. What are your thoughts, Mike? What are you thinking?
It's a lot of injuries, just crucial injuries this week everywhere. Some players returned. Even we saw with the guys returning, it was still they weren't on par. But just you're having to adjust your roster each week on these injuries, and now we're into bye week time where it's like serious stuff where you're going to have to count on guys that you haven't had to count on. So um, it's tricky. It's getting interesting, and certainly people are going to have to do their homework and their research. I for my team this week, I had to really deep down with the Benjamin kid. I had to put that in there, and you just got to really just break it down. If you don't put the work in, it shows when on your weekly games. When you don't put the work in, it shows.
Well, there's some matchups. We'll hop right into it. This was a strange. There was a couple teams really went off this week, and this was a week where people were just really kind of feeling the scores really low. We've had some
Hmm.
weeks with some really high scores. We'll start with a really low one. It's a guy who's really high up in our power rank. Eddie, I've got him at 3. He comes in a 128.89 winner over Bomb Squad, who only scored 98 points. I mean, that's just a tough week. You're not going to beat anybody scoring 98. He had some things happen to his squad. Going down the roster, we'll make this quick for these because there's not a whole lot to talk about here. Eddie's able to squeeze out the win relatively comfortably. Rogers had 24. He don't look right. Devonay had 9 points. Devontae Adams did his customary 20. He's just a baller. Joe Mixon had his customary 19. He's a baller. He's still rolling with Melvin Gordon. Denver doesn't like him. They're trying to go any other direction but him. Um, Brought in another guy. What was it? Latavius Murray to
Yeah.
the fold this week. Had to go Foster Moreau at tight end. Got 8 points out of that. Kenyon Brake did nothing. Um, Baltimore's going to go Gus Edwards. It looks like from here on out. A big one, which really hurt his team, was Amon-Ra St. Brown. He
Hmm.
went out. It wasn't ruled a concussion. New NFL protocol, the Tua rule, basically made Detroit take him out, which Dallas was a huge beneficiary because Detroit couldn't do anything without that guy, and they were already down Swift. But he's not ruled out for this week, and he only gave him 1 point. That killed him. McManus with 4, and then Von Bell with 4. Looking at his bench, really nothing to talk about there. Going over to Eddie. Eddie had to start Jacoby Brissett. He got away with it, 16 points. Mike Evans had a strong performance, 21 points. Could have had about 35 points, but he dropped a big one. Lazard had 14 points, went out of that game late with an injury. Should be back, but it's a shoulder. We'll see. Raheem Mostert, one of the most impressive grabs on Eddie's team is Raheem
Hmm.
Mostert. It's a 32, 33-year-old back. He's staying healthy for now, and he's killing it. He's the RB1 there. Makes Chase Edmonds damn near droppable, to be frank. It's all Mostert all the time. They don't even look at Edmonds. It's just the Mostert show. He has Michael Carter. Obviously, a huge injury to Brees Hall. Uh, Michael Carter should be pretty decent going forward, but they did just add Jamie Robinson. We'll see how that factors into the fold there. He got 10 from Michael Carter on this afternoon, got 18 from Fryermuth, good day. 17 from Higgins, good day from Higgins. Nothing from Keenan Allen. He started him. It was risky. Keenan coming back from injury, and he didn't do much. Probably could have went Duron Carter there, but it's tough not to play Keenan. Keenan's been so dominant in fantasy when he plays. Didn't hurt him. Only got 2.7 points from Ryan Suckup. Tampa Bay is an absolute dumpster fire right now. Um, just a dumpster fire. They got to get their head out of their butt quick. And Mac only gave him 3.75 points. So he was able to squeeze out the win. Really not a whole lot to talk about there. Just dealing with bye weeks and injuries, man. It's going to be tough on some of these weeks. We can move right on. Go to Willie. Willie and Gino faced off. Willie got a 135.88 win over Gino, 120.78. Gino started golf because Russell didn't play, and it hurt him. Golf had 7 points. Dallas just ate golf up all day long. 4 turnovers, 2 fumbles, 2 picks. He was god awful. That killed Gino. When your quarterback gets you 7, that's going to be hard to recover from that. Got 15 from Waddle, 12 from Peoples-Jones. Got the customary 20 from Chubb. Chubb's a baller, one of the best in fantasy. Only got 9 from McCaffrey. It's going to take a while to get acclimated in San Fran. San Fran's got dudes everywhere. It's not going to be like Carolina where it's Christian left, Christian right, Christian up the middle,
Right.
Christian on the wheel route. San Fran's got dudes, so it's going to take a while, and Jimmy's got to play better to really get that thing rolling. 4 points from Kyle Pitts, 18 from Dameon Pierce. Just a tremendous pickup by Gino. That's just tremendous. Yep. Dameon Pierce is awesome, and he's got him in his lineup every week, and he should. Jerry Jeudy with 20. That's a big game for Jeudy.
Yep.
Only 3 from Folk, and then he got sack and 13 points from Myles Garrett. On his bench, Roquan Smith blew up for 31 points. That could have helped. That probably would have won him his week if he played Roquan Smith instead of Myles Garrett. But good luck figuring that out. Going over to Willie, no Josh Allen this week. He still gets a win. He goes Marcus Mariota, gets 18 points. Somehow Mariota still scores points. I guess he runs around. Lockett, 13 points. Rondale Moore, 4.6 points. Lockett's going to be big next couple weeks with DK out. DK will probably miss, I'd say, at least 2-3 weeks. That's what I would assume. It's a patellar tendon injury. He didn't tear it, so that's good. He's not out for the year. But Lockett's already been doing good, and he may completely blow up next couple weeks. So if you play Willie, good luck because he's getting Allen back, and he's going to get a juiced-up Lockett. Rondale Moore didn't do much. Antonio Gibson, very efficient, 21 points. He still looks really good. Ron Rivera's crazy if that's not a split backfield because Brian Robinson's a great story, but he ain't better than Gibson, and he's definitely not more versatile. Got a great thing in Foreman. He kept Foreman, and, man, it turned out beautiful because now McCaffrey's out of town. Foreman is RB1B, had 19 points there. Some will argue that he's more of the every down back than even Hubbard is. So Foreman looks like a guy he could play every week. Got 12 from Ingram, 13 from Jones, only 2.7 from Henry. That's rough. Sanders gave him 12. You get double digits from a kicker. It's a good day. And then he got 21 from Diggs because Diggs got a pick. So Willie comes away 135.88 to 120.78. And Willie's all the way up to number 4 in the power rankings. What are your thoughts on both Willie and Gino's team?
Yeah, we'll start with Gino with his team. Obviously, I wouldn't have played McCaffrey the first game back. I don't know what he had left. I mean, if he didn't have anybody else, then I get it. You play him. But certainly that was kind of a risk. And then Kyle Pitts, he just isn't doing anything. For some reason, he's like
nothing.
Yeah, he's got cooties or something. He's got cooties or something, and they just do not want to get him the ball for some damn reason. Yeah. I don't know. I love the Pierce pickup. Me and Rico talked about that throughout Sunday. That guy's phenomenal. Awesome. That's a big steal, and then that's a big game from Jeudy. Obviously, if you can get that kind of consistent play, that'll certainly balloon his team up. Chubb does what he usually does. Good game by Peoples-Jones, but the consistency is what you're going to look for. As you mentioned, you get 8 points out of your quarterback. You're not winning any damn week in this league. There's too competitive. There's no way in hell you're going to win. I think it's more of a situation where, Gino has to figure out that quarterback, maybe look for the wire, see if there's somebody out there that's better that can help you. That's more consistent than a golf. And then look at matchups each week because I don't think Peoples-Jones is the guy you can just run every week. So gonna have to look at the right matchups. So I think that's kind of the thing with Gino's team. They're kind of, it's kind of in a, they got to do something to get a spark going with his team. So it's just not there. He's projected to get 143. Obviously, he got that this week. He'd have won, but he didn't. And then on the other side with William, he got 15 above or below, above what he was supposed to get. And then, I think with his team, this is a bye week type of thing where he couldn't play Josh Allen. So he had to find a way, and Mariota gave him enough. He does what his average, if you look at his average, most weeks he gets 18. So I think he got production. I think that's the place where Gino, where he won was obviously the Foreman pickup and then the Gibson pickup. I think those two games really just ballooned his week. If those guys do what they normally do, certainly he's probably not winning this week, but he got some big performances from them, and that's kind of what we deal with bye weeks. I really like Will's team. I think, and you look at their bench, you got Cook on the bench, you got Josh Allen on the bench, and then you just got several guys like Van Jefferson is
Singletary. Yep.
yeah, Singletary. Van Jefferson has just been taken off the IR, so now he's in the practice squad. So that's a guy I think could help you later down the road. So I think Will's team is pretty good as long as he continues to make sure he sets his lineup.
Yeah. Will got a victory, and he had Singletary, Cook, and Allen, 3 every week starters on bye.
Yep.
That's
That's big.
that's big time.
That's what you want.
Yep, Will's making moves. Will's making moves. Next game we'll go to Mario. Mario and Mark squared off. Mario ended up losing 141.25 to 120.12. Mark gets the win over Mario. Starting with what Mario had. Mario played Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan got benched. I know he was searching for a quarterback. I think he had some bye week stuff going on. No, he's just got some quarterback issues. He's got Wentz. He's got to go to the waiver wire and get some quarterbacks. It's not working out for him for the quarterback, so he's going to have to fix that. He's got Pierce in there. Pierce is a rookie. He's going to be okay, but he's not a guy that you really can lean on. He gave him 8 points. Did get Nuke Hopkins back. Nuke Hopkins went 22 points. That was great. Got 13 from Montgomery, 11 from Robinson. Noah Fant is just dudded on him. Got 1 catch for 7 yards. Huge day for Josh Jacobs. Jeez, Josh Jacobs is going crazy. He's right up there with Eckler. I mean, Josh Jacobs is that good this year. Another 40 burger from Josh Jacobs. Just killing it. Reynolds should have done more. Didn't. Dallas just completely shut down the guys who were able to suit up for Detroit. Dallas shut them down. Did nothing. He had 2 points there. McPherson 5, and he got nothing from J.J. Watt. I probably would get a new defensive player. J.J. Watt is washed. The big thing for Mario, and it's glaring, it's sitting Aaron Jones. I mean, this is just where managers do what they do, and each guy's got his own deal. But I just don't see a world where I play a Josh Reynolds over an Aaron Jones. And Josh Reynolds went out there, got 2 points. Aaron got 31. You make that simple adjustment, you not only win, but you win by about 10. That's tough. That's tough to look at. It's tough to lose a week and then look at that because it's Aaron Jones is an elite player. So that's tough. I mean, guys do what they do, but that's tough to look at there.
Yeah, I look at the other player like for me, it's like I get why he started Josh Reynolds because I know my Cowboys really well, and the guy that the Cowboys were locked in on was St. Brown. That's the guy they put on Diggs. They put Diggs on him. Then St. Brown went out, and that just screwed everything up for Reynolds because Reynolds had some nobody ass DB on him, and so he was probably going to have a big day because that's what happens with the other DBs. But my thing is Brian Robinson or Aaron Jones. Well, I mean Aaron Jones is elite. I don't care what their offense is looking like. I mean he has a potential to hit the boom, and he's playing against Washington team that's not great. I know because my Cowboys play them in our league. So yeah, that's the one that probably hurts him. He's probably going to look at that for a while. And so that's going to sting. But and then Matt Ryan's inconsistent. You don't know what you're getting, and now he's benched. So yeah, that hurts. I mean, we all have metrics of why we play a guy. So I'm sure if he had to look back at that and think about it again, he probably put Jones in there somewhere.
We try not to always go off of projections, but understand that the projections are crunched by numbers and people who get paid to do it. So it's not a perfect science, but when a guy is projected 6 more points than another guy, it's not an accident. It's because the computers have broke it down a million different ways, and people who their job is to break down fantasy probability see it that way. So the projections are not everything. I won't sit there and say that they are. I don't always follow them, but that's tough to start guys who are 6, 7 points projected less than another option. Mark had a huge week from Mahomes, 47 points. He's pretty incredible. Sutton was real quiet. Woods was quiet. Fournette was quiet. Hilliard was quiet. He had a lot of quiet guys. Then Taysom Hill gave him 13, and then he got 30 from Hardman. So Hardman really kind of saved him. He got 16 from Slayton and then 12 from Snead. So Mark gets away 141.25 over Mario 120.12. Mark's up to top 5 in our power poll. He is creeping up. That brings us to the next matchup. It's going to be Joe versus Ant Porterfield. Porterfield had another Brady bad performance, 18 points. Tampa Bay is just a mess. He had Godwin also 13 points. Tampa Bay, I spoke with last year's champion, Calvin, at length today. Big Tampa Bay guy, very, very knowledgeable as far as just what's going on with Tampa Bay. And there's some serious talk about firing Byron Leftwich. Very, very serious talk. In fact, if this was not a Thursday game, it may be on the table right now. People probably aren't going to like that. I mean, it's, for a number of different reasons, but it is what it is. Tampa Bay is a figured out offense. People know what the hell they're doing. It looks terrible. Tom's making mistakes. He's missing walkthroughs. He missed part of camp. People are focusing on personal life, which I personally think is bullshit. I don't think his personal life should have anything to do with anything, but that's the sports world we live in. People want to apply their bias to other people's personal life and use that as kind of ammo against them instead of their actual play. It's a factor, and it's just something that people do, but it's gotten to be a distraction. And Tom's messed up, but the whole team looks like crap. And it's really killing Ant's team because he's got Brady and Godwin between them. He got about 30 points. He should probably get close to 50 or 60 from him. He didn't get it. Did get 30 from Schuster. And he actually had Schuster on the trade block not too long ago. And Schuster has back-to-back big weeks. Got nothing from McKissick. He can't play him. He got next to nothing from Rashad White. He can't play him either. He did that because Damian Harris was coming off the injury, and Naheem Hines is not really reliable. Got 18 from Kelsey. That's a quiet day for Kelsey. Kelsey usually goes a little higher than that. 8 from Berrios, 7 for Ertz, 12 for Gano, 3 from Derwin James. Just a quiet day overall for his team. His team, when Brady and the Bucs get it figured out, it will start doing some things. And he's got to make a trade to do something at running back. In fact, I may offer him one. He's got to fix that. That's really dragging this team down. Looking at Joe, Joe's got one of the strongest rosters in the league. He got 19 from Dak Prescott. He got 20 from McLaurin. McLaurin just whipped Jair Alexander's butt all game long and told him about it. That was a very strong performance. One-on-one matchup. 20 points is not going crazy, but it was a loud 20. It was on Jair's head the whole game. He got a donut from Michael Gallup. And, there was some trade negotiations for Michael Gallup, I recall, about a month ago. And Gallup was being thrown around kind of as like this big, monster piece that was immovable. It's not looking that way with Gallup. I actually think Noah Brown's better. That's my opinion. Mike, you can chime in after we go through these scores. Yeah. I don't see it with Gallup. I just don't see it. And I don't think Dak's really getting the ball to wide receivers properly anyway. So that's going to be tough for him. But it's not going to matter because he has Barkley, Eckler, and those two are going crazy. Barkley with 20, Eckler with 41. Ridiculous. The surprise of the week, Andrews with 0.65 points.
Mm-hmm.
That's a shocking total. 12 points for Najee Harris, 10 for Renfro. Got 5 from Maher, and then 13 from Bosa. On his bench, he had Tua, didn't play him. Khalil Herbert is really looking good in Chicago. That looks like a split backfield from everything I'm looking at. And Gus Edwards, huge pickup for him. A lot of people were sleeping on that one. Gus Edwards, it's tough to put any faith in anything Baltimore because they just run so many guys. But Gus is a guy they really like. And Joe Smart picked him up, got 20 right off the bat. So Joe gets the win, 139.98 to 114.89. Joe's got a strong team, Mike. He's going to be there, I think, to the end.
Yeah, really strong team, especially top to bottom. You mentioned McLaurin; he's a beast. I've loved his game. I think Andrews is kind of an anomaly because that just doesn't happen often. I think they mainly focused on the run, so that took away from having to use Mark as much. They led a lot of the game, so I think they did a lot of running. Eckler, he does that shit every week, so That's normal.
Yeah,
And then
Eckler's a beast.
quietly, I think Saquon's having an incredible a year for the Giants. Obviously, they're still they're still finding ways to win. I think he's playing his ass off. Najee Harris is still an anomaly. He just doesn't look great in that offense. They just look like they just can't get him going.
Yep.
Myers, I think, is a really good kicker. And then with Gallup, I'll say this about Gallup: like when Dak gets back to, I've said before that Zeke's going to get a balloon from Dak being in there, but Dak's going to take like 2 or 3 weeks to get it going. And Gallup is one of his favorite receivers, but right now Gallup is kind of a dud because that offense is not running the way it wants to. Not even CD's not even getting the ball like he should. So it's going to take
Yep.
about 2 or 3 weeks for Dak to kind of get warmed up. He hasn't played football since the first week, so it's going to take some time. I wouldn't give up on Gallup, but at the same time, I don't know if I depend on him weekly, but I do think he's going to play into it because, like I said, Gallup's one of his favorite receivers, especially if you go back to last year when Dallas is playing. He went to Gallup a lot. I think Gallup will be involved in it, but right now, that's not one that you could probably trust or feel like you could trust at this point. But I wouldn't totally give up on him. But yeah, that's something to monitor week by
Yeah.
week, and I wait until the offense gets going before I think about playing him every week.
Yeah, but Joe gets the win. Joe is hanging tough at number 2 in our power poll. He's going to be there to the end. He's got a really good team. Made a couple good pickups this week, too. The Gus Edwards one's really going to buoy him. Got Hunter Renfro. That was a nice little pickup, too, to kind of bolster his team. So Joe's going to be there. Joe's going to be tough. Moving on, we got Trey with a 123.6 win over Primetime, 108.56. Starting with Primetime. Primetime got out the gates and was just blistering. Had a 227-point game where Hill and Cup just went crazy. But I voiced concerns in week 2. And Merck has got to put some effort into bolstering his team and getting on the waiver wire. He hasn't, and it's going to start biting him because his team, when it's all healthy and there's no bye weeks, is really, really good. But the depth is just not there. Going over his scores, Kyler Murray had 24 points. Tyreek Hill had a quiet day, 16. Amari Cooper, 12. Zeke Elliott had a nice day, 19 points. Kareem Hunt had 8. The trade talks with Kareem Hunt. That'd be something to look for. See if Kareem Hunt lands somewhere different. Got 16 from Njoku. Njoku then went down with an injury, so that's going to be tough. Got 0 for Robbie Anderson. There's no way in hell I would have played Robbie Anderson on a Thursday night fresh after getting traded. He literally didn't have a practice. That was a really risky move, but there really didn't have much of a choice. Mark Ingram is just not going to cut it as a running back. That's the Kamara show. Ingram comes in there just to spell him on occasion. Nothing from Devin White and Young Ho Koo with 6 points. Nothing on his bench. He had a bye week with Devontae Smith. With
Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, Cooper Kupp and Devontae Smith. Yeah, both of them. Both of them had bye weeks. He also had a bye week with and that's not a bye week with Bosa. Bosa's on IR. Tough week for Merck. Bye weeks were going to get him, and he just had a bad performance. So Trey, 124 points, gets a win. Some weeks you can do that. He gets 13 points from Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson has quietly fallen off the elite quarterback line. That's several performances in a row that he has not hit. He had a third of his projection. Baltimore just beats the heck out of the ball. They run the heck out of it. And when they get running backs to hand the ball off, he had 59 rush yards, 120 pass yards. So Baltimore's winning, but Lamar Jackson is doing a great job controlling the offense, but it's not going to equate to these monster fantasy weeks. And I think that'll be something to monitor going forward. 11 points for Pittman, 21 from Olave. That's a tremendous pick by Trey, having Olave. He's got a lot of good young dudes. He did some serious managerial stuff here. He got a trade for Walker because some idiot managers were not patient enough to hold on to him. 35 points for K9. Etienne, he followed some snap share information on Etienne, and he knew Etienne would take over the backfield, and boy, did he. I mean, James Robinson was literally a paperweight. Got traded because he was worthless in Jacksonville. They didn't play him. So Etienne takes over that backfield. I would be cautious, though, because Etienne is a slight build. He's a small back. I don't see Etienne going through that whole season with the usage. I'm not wishing it on him. I'm just saying, if you got Etienne, you might want to look who that backup Jacksonville back is because you're going to need him. 6 points for Gesicki, 9 points for Bateman coming off the injury. He's tied to Lamar Jackson. It's going to be tough for that wide receiver to eat when Jackson's throwing for 120 yards.
Yep.
It's going to be tough. Romeo Doubs with a donut. This is a guy Trey was very, very bullish on. A donut. I don't know what else to say. Green Bay looks like a mess, much like Tampa. On his bench, Pickens with 20. I'd probably start playing Pickens. He seems to be the number one option in Pittsburgh. Crazy. Him and Pickett seem to be really matched up. And that's really all there is to say there. It's just a light week for both of these teams. Trey was able to nudge them out by about 15 points. And, Trey's hanging in there. This was a big one for him. He was 2-4. Now he's 3-4, so he's back in the mix. Yep. Merck falls to 4-3 after starting, I think, 3 or 4-0. So it happens quick, man. Happens quick in the Justice League. And that brings us to Mike's matchup. Mike Savage's 181.97 to Trent's 145.12. It was a butt kicking. Mike's team put some points on the board. Run through Trent real quick, and I'll let Mike, talk about his guys. Garoppolo at 25, Kirk 20, Samuel 15, got 9 from Edwards-Helaire, got 9 from Jamal Williams, got 7 from Tanyan, 10 from Cooks, 18 from Valdez-Scantling. Actually, a good day. Valdez-Scantling goes 111 on 3 catches. Got 17 from a kicker, 16 from Burns because he had a sack. But it was nowhere near enough. He had a good day on the bench, nothing that he could have really played. Mike, you had next to nothing on your bench, so you maxed it out, and you got some serious points.
Yeah, it was a good week. Obviously, Herbert, I got nearly 30 points there. He's done that pretty consistently, although I think last 2 weeks he's kind of been off. Ayuk seems to be the wide receiver one in volume there in San Francisco. He seems to be the guy they go to all the time. And then obviously Mike Williams had a big game, although I'm gonna have to figure some stuff out with his injury. He had 24. Kamara has done his usual. He's in the 20s almost every week. That's been phenomenal. And Benjamin, the one that really got it going on Thursday for me, 25 there. 11 out of Auten, who had 0 points, I think, going in the third or fourth quarter, but he got it going, so he got enough. And then about 14 points from Tollard, who I knew would be pretty good, placing the Detroit defense that's not that great. Claypool did around what I thought he would. Tucker had a monster game, as he usually does, number one kicker in fantasy, and then Michael Parsons did what he did. First week I've had where every player scored in double digits. Most weeks you get that. You're going to have big scores, and you're probably going to win. So really good week. I feel really good. Obviously, 2 straight wins that I needed to get to bounce back. I really like the way this team is coming together. Obviously, bye week, so I'm going to have to play somebody besides Herbert and certainly Williams. But overall, I feel pretty good about the way this thing's trending with the points each week that I'm getting. Obviously, Jamie Robinson going to New York was a big boost for me because he was naturally worthless in Jacksonville because he wasn't going to do anything. Now he's going to the Jets, where he's going to have a chance to balloon up some boost in points with him and Michael Carter. So at very worst, he'll be split in the backfield. So I got a big break there, getting lucky there, and then certainly the bye weeks. I looked through them all, and it's not like massive swings that I have to do. So I'm feeling pretty good being at 3-4. I'm right up there now. I think I'll win this week against a really tough Joe team. I'm at 4-4. I'm even again, and I'm right there to battle for the playoffs. So I think it's just like I said, guys. I was 1-4, and you just got to keep fiddling with this lineup. And gosh, guys, you got to really maximize who's playing who, what games are, and the value of what your guy is. Really do research behind the scenes to kind of see what guy is going to be maximizing points, because I was one of the guys that was playing like crap, and then I really had to go to the waiver wire, spent a lot of money on Benjamin, spent some money on some other guys. I got Kirk Cousins off the waiver wire for this week to get that for my quarterback play coming up for the following week. So it's like you guys gotta really, if like I said at the beginning of this, if you put in the work, it shows as far as your results in the week's performance. And we saw some of the guys get big wins because they did a lot of research and they brought some guys in that really helped them solidify and get a W. And I can't stress enough. You really have to put the work in to get this done.
Yep, it's a big week. I'm looking at Mike Williams. So Brandon Staley told reporters that Mike Williams will miss weeks, not days. So take that for what it's worth. They've got Atlanta in week 9 coming off the bye. I highly doubt he'll play that game. Then they're at San Francisco. You may be looking at week 11 return for Williams at home versus KC, or maybe week 10 at San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of where you're at there.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, it's going to be a great feeling, man. Big win, 3-4. That puts you right in the mix. Right in the mix, and that brings us to our last matchup, and that's going to be my matchup with Corey. And I'll be honest, I didn't really think I had to pay attention to the Monday night game, and that was not the case. Corey's team had 3 guys going, had Jacoby Myers, had Ramondre Stevenson, and Matthew Judon. And I got to give some credit to Corey here, because Corey had been kind of whiffing on the IDP. And he put some effort into this, and he discovered a guy who was coming off some big weeks, and he got 33 points from Matthew Judon in the first half. I mean, there was a point where this looked like he may actually come back and win this week. He was down 100 points, 3 players to go. Yep. And he got 33 from Matthew Judon. Got 11 from Lutz. Only 1.9 points from Drake London. Didn't really have a whole lot on his bench that he could have plugged in. I mean, I guess Mac Hollins, but you wouldn't play him over London. Tyler Algier had 12 on his bench. But what's hurting him right now is Deontay Johnson. Deontay Johnson only had 11. He's really faded in fantasy. Mm-hmm. He's just really faded. And it's one of those situations where you kind of have to know the window when to trade people. And I think Deontay Johnson's window is probably faded to get elite return back. But it's just tough. And they've gone younger at the quarterback position. He obviously has a rapport with Pickens because he's peppering him with targets. And he seems to be picking it up with Claypool. So now it's like, who's the WR1 in Pittsburgh? I mean, I guess technically it would still be Deontay Johnson. But if you ask me, from what I'm looking at, it really looks like it's George Pickens. And then Deontay and Claypool are kind of 1-2 after that, or I guess 2-3 rather. So interesting situation to see. He's still getting some production, but not what he's supposed to. He really likes Jared Everett, and Jared Everett continues to play well for him. Got 13. Ramondre Stevenson, just a workhorse. Part of this is he's benefiting from Damian Harris being a little saddled with a hamstring, but the other part is Ramondre Stevenson is just really good. Yep. And right now, I mean, Belichick likes him now. I don't know how he's going to feel about him tomorrow, but he likes him now. He got Jacoby Myers for 12. He got 22 from Carr, decent performance. A monster performance from Chase, 38 points. We had a discussion where Chase kind of fit in the wide receiver, and I was pretty demonstrative. I said he's top 3. He's top 3. Find 3 guys better than that dude. I'll wait.
We knew that. We knew that,
yeah,
Corey.
Come
on,
Corey. That's not a debate.
No, I mean that's his college roommate, college player. Jamar Chase is going to get the ball. He's too elite not to. So we had him. So you have him, and then just the nut sacker is Breece Hall. Like that's just crushing.
That's a killer. Luckily, he did get a huge 60-yard rushing touchdown before it happened, but he drafted Breece, and Breece really panned out, and that is just a really crushing blow. Looking at his bench, it's going to be tough because that probably with Breece Hall and then Dobbins on IR. I mean, it's back to the way where he did pick up Cam Akers, and Cam Akers could go to a team that could do something.
Yes, that's
so
one to watch.
That may help him out, but other than that, he's going to be having to start, Tyler Algier. So a huge week for him, 183 points, and he's going to fall just short because I tuned up the pretty red Corvette, and I got it going, and I got really lucky with Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow, I say lucky, but people looked at me crazy when I said Joe Burrow is top 3 in fantasy, not 4, 5, 7. He's top 3. It goes Josh, Pat, and Joe. I said that from the beginning. I drafted him tactically for this because I know what Joe does. Joe had multiple 50-point games last year against the same team. And Joe's just starting to scratch the surface of what he could do. At 41 yards passing, had 62 points. You get 62 points from your quarterback, you should win. And I was able to hold on. Got 10 points from Deebo Samuel. He's got a hamstring. Going to have to look at that this week. I play Trey, so half my team will probably just fall apart. CeeDee Lamb gave me 13. I'm freaking pissed at Dak. I hate Dak Prescott for fantasy purposes. He cannot get CeeDee the ball. It's tough with CeeDee. He's so elite. Dallas tries to do everything but give their most elite explosive player, who is CeeDee Lamb, unquestionably the ball. They do everything else but that. They'll throw to the tight end 100 times. So CeeDee is frustrating because he's capped by whatever that OC is calling. Henry gets 19, 17 from Taylor, finally getting a little bit from Jonathan Taylor there. Mm-hmm. That's good to see. Kittle starting to show that he's a top 5 tight end still at 24, got his first touchdown. DK Metcalf was killer. Goes down in the first quarter. Patellar tendon injury. Just me looking at it, I would say 3 to 4 weeks, maybe. I think he's got a week 11 bye. So if we're being on the safe side, maybe he comes back week 12. That's just me being realistic with it. They could force him back sooner. Nothing was tore, but it is some impact and some trauma to the patellar tendon. So or patellar bone knee area. So we'll see what happens there. But the other piece that really helped me out was Tyler Boyd. I thought long and hard about who to start. I had a couple other options. I had DJ Moore. I had Chuba Hubbard. Mm-hmm. I just felt like Boyd was the safest, and man, it was first possession, 60-yard TD, so it paid off right there. He ended up with 37 points. Yep. 10 from Carlson. Crosby only gave me 7. I've got Dillon on the bench doing nothing, Edmonds doing nothing, Pickett 20, DJ Moore had 22 points, and Hubbard had 17 points. So I'm going to have to roll with a lot of Panthers going forward if these two are healthy, because I've got DK down, possibly Samuel down, and some other guys coming up with bye weeks. So I was able to get a good day, 199 points. Wasn't quite able to break the 200 mark. They shut down the San Francisco attack late because they were getting smacked. And then DK getting hurt probably kept that from happening. But 62 points from Joe Burrow. Yep. Just feeling good about Joe Burrow, man. Joe Burrow's going to have me in the hunt. I feel confident no matter who we're playing. So that takes us to next week's matchups. And we'll talk about the power ranking, and we'll talk about next week's matchup. So power ranking, I'm maintaining the number 1 spot. I stole it from Eddie, and I'm not looking back. So I got the 1 spot. Joe's 2, Eddie's 3, Willie's 4, Mark 5, Merk is 6, Corey is 7, Trey 8, Mike, you're at 9, City's at 10, Ant, you're 11, Gino's 12, Mario's 13, and Trent is still in the 14th spot. So that's what we're looking like as far as our power ranking. Going into our matchups next week, some guys haven't quite set the roster yet, so some of the scoring is going to be a little off, so I don't want to go over who's projected, whatever, because guys got to make adjustments.
Right.
I've got a grudge match with little brother, and it just so happens to be the week Michigan plays Michigan State, of course. So we'll see how many of my players come up with magic illnesses or break legs in practice or something, because it seems to be the norm. Hopefully we can buck the norm and get a nice fair square matchup. We'll see how that goes. Eddie is playing Gino. Gino really, really, really needs a win at 2-5. Gino's going to have to pull out all the stops, figure something out. Willie's got Corey. Corey is going to be a little under the bad luck log, because no Brees, no Dobbins. This ain't going to be the Corey's team I just played, because they're going to be down some dudes. Willie's going to have everybody. And he's getting Cook back. He's getting Singletary. He's getting Josh Allen. So that's going to be a really tough matchup for Corey. And Corey has really been working his butt off trying to get this team back up. He's at 3-4 now. It's going to be tough this week for Corey. He's really got his work cut out for him. We'll see how that pans out. Mario and Ant are going to square off. Mario could really use a win at 2-5. Ant could use one too at 3-4. So that's going to be tough. You've got a big matchup with Joe
Yep.
Joe's at 5-2. You're at 3-4. So Joe's got a great team on paper. He won't have Eckler, so he's going to have to do it some other way besides getting 40 from that dude. So we'll see what he can conjure up. But you're not going to have Mike Williams is on a bye, so
yeah, I wouldn't have him anyway.
And you're also not going to have Herbert. So
yep,
we'll see. It's going to be Captain Kirk leading the way. It's going to be a good matchup, though.
Bye matchup. You're just gonna have all kinds of. I mean, it's bye week time, guys. I mean, you get to week 8, it's you're gonna go through this, and so yeah, it's a great matchup. I can't wait. It's a good matchup with Joe. I know it's gonna be tough, but it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, all these matchups are going to be tough going forward. Prime time matchup with Bomb Squad. Prime time's kind of reeling, 4-3. Bomb Squad 3-4. I mean, both teams could be 4-4 depending on what happens there. I mean, it's going to be rough managing the bye weeks. I know Merck's got some coming up too in a couple weeks too, so we'll see how they kind of bounce back. He should have Kupp back. I'm not sure when Tyreek Hill's bye week, and I have to look at that. And the last matchup is going to be Trent. He's just got to keep plugging along and figure it out. He's got Mark. Mark's a top 5 team in the league now. Trent's sitting at the 14th spot. So Trent, man, we're bringing you in the league. We're super happy to have you. We're excited. But man, you got to pick it up, dude, because this ain't your work league. Guys in here are pretty venomous, and they're coming with it, and guys are scoring. So got to pick it up, man, because it don't get any easier. And that's what we got for week 8. So, hey, it's just kind of put up or shut up time now. Week 8, man. I mean, week 14 is the end of the regular season. 15, 16, and 17 are the playoffs. So, it's time when guys start making moves now. In the standings are getting really tight. Guys that are one game out of 500 or one game over 500. I mean, you're talking about a week can really separate who goes to playoffs. And the other thing is too, the points that you score really matter. Mm-hmm. So if you're losing a matchup, for instance, like I beat Corey, okay, yay, right? But Corey scored 183 points. That's big, because if Corey winds up 7-7 and somebody else winds up 7-7, and Corey has a couple weeks like that when he loses, his points will carry him over. And Corey missed out on the playoffs, I think it was 2 years ago, because his point accruement was lesser than somebody else that had the same record. And he even beat that person that he had the same record as, but we go based off points to totality of the season. So, guys, setting your roster, maximizing your roster, it could be the difference between being the number 8 man or being the 9 man. Nobody wants to be the 9 man. That sucks. So, set your roster, man. Maximize them. See what you can see. Make trades. Do what you got to do. Get those points.
Yeah, it's big. I mean, you look at these things when you're talking about the 8th place, because there's 8 spots in the playoffs. And I was looking at this. Each week I got inch closer, and I'm moving up. Because my total points. I've gotten more total points than some people that are 8 and 7 and 9 spots. So these total points matter each week. So you can't just say, well, I'll do enough to win that week. You got to look at it like, I got to maximize everything I can get out of that. It's not always about winning. It's about when you accumulate those points, when you're right there on the edge, when it's one game, and say you got one game left and you both have the same record, it's going to come down to your points. So,
and looking at that, just to prove your point there. So Mike was sitting at 2-4. Trey was sitting at 2-4. You had Jameis Crabhunter, you had Ant City, and you had Corey all sitting at 3-3. Mm-hmm. Okay, Mike and Trey won. Bomb Squad, Jameis Crabhunter, and Corey lost. And not only did they lose, Mike's points are going to have him jumping everybody but Corey, because Corey had a huge week. So Corey, again, the points are going to keep you above Mike, just barely. But Mike's going to climb ahead of Bomb Squad. It's going to climb ahead of Jameis Crabhunter. And he's going to be ahead of Trey with the same record with the points. So Mike would get in the playoffs over Bomb Squad, Jameis Crabhunter, and Trey. That's what one big week does, and that's why we set this up the way that it's been set up, is because I'm trying to incentivize every week starting your absolute best team because it affects everything. 1 week where you have a big performance, get a win, and a big point performance could literally vault you into the playoffs. Literally vault you to the playoffs. And I think right now, if we were to start today on points accruement, I think Mike, you would be in the 8th spot, and Trey would be 9. Just that quick. I think Mike, you were in the.
Yeah, I was 1-4 2 weeks ago. Yeah,
Well,
so
you went like this. I've got the power rankings here. You went from the 13. You went 13, 12, and you climbed up to 8 in 3 weeks.
yep. It's just why you have to set it every week, guys, because yeah, when I lost all those points, it was frustrating because everyone was scoring incredibly high points against me. But the thing I put together was, you know what? I'm still scoring high points. So if I start winning, which that was the main thing I needed to start doing, it's going to start mattering. And in the last 2 weeks, it's mattered because I'm keeping scoring points, and now I've got a couple W's with 2 in a row. So it matters, guys. Every week, you can't look at the matchup and like, well, I'll set this, so I'll get enough, and I'll win. You have to get the maximum amount of points that you can get from your week, because these points matter at the end of the year. Like I said, we could be in the final week and you're tied with somebody, and say you both lose, it's going to come down to that points. And so you want to make maximum. That's why we don't do this because we like saying it every week. We do it when we say set your lineups because we want you to maximize everything you have on your team. I mean, that's why me and Rico mention it every week. We want you guys to be the best version of what your team is. We don't want somebody to look back and say, "Oh shit, I forgot to set that." We don't do it just because we like saying it. We do it because this kind of situation. Look at how much I jumped up just because I set my lineup, did some waiver additions, really worked on it, and then the points improved. I mean, you just have to consistently each week make sure your lineups are set.
Yep. And the other thing is competitive balance for the league. I don't want anybody to get a freebie. And I know when I play these guys, they for damn sure set their lineup. Guys are making 6 and 7 moves a week when I'm playing them, and I want that every week. So I just don't want anybody to get a free week. Just keep the integrity of the league. That's why we have $75 weeks. Next year, it's going to be a $200 buy-in. It's going to be $100 weeks. Just what it's going to be. Got to figure out ways to incentivize people to set their lineups. Takes 5 minutes. Got to do it. And guys that do it are generally rewarded, and the playoffs will reflect that. So there we are, man. It's week 8 now. Overall, I think the league's going great. It's very competitive. I think the playoffs are going to be crazy. I don't know what the heck's going to happen, but this is getting into maintenance mode with your team, man. If you're not spending time, daily or at least every other day looking at your team, it's going to show. The managers that are, it's just going to show. He's got to be ahead of the power curve on a lot of stuff. It's just getting crazy. But the good thing is there's so much information out there. If you seek it, you can find it. You can get everything that you need. But that's all I've got, man. We'll be signing off this week 7 recap. That's 3 in a row, y'all. Somebody come get this money, man.
I tried. I pushed hard as hell. But yeah, I'm trying. But yeah, you got to bring it. Rico's team's rolling, but I have a prediction though. I don't think Rico's going to win it this week. That's just my guess. I think somebody else is going to win it.
Well, we'll see if DK and Debo and anybody else wants to take a week off. Probably not. We'll see. But all right, fellas, we're going to get back at you, man. Week 8, set your rosters. Let's go.